Grab those morphers and ready up your Zords, because today we're covering another iteration of the Power Rangers. But not just any Power Rangers, we're talking about the Rangers, the ones that started it all, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Okay, so started it all might be a bit of an exaggeration. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the first iteration of the Rangers that hit American screens in 1993. But the entirety of the Power Rangers series is adapted from a Japanese franchise called Super Sentai. It premiered way back in 1975. Nonetheless, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers became a massive pop culture icon, spawning 29 more seasons, a few movies, some comics, and that just scratches the surface of the expanse of the Power Ranger craze. We've already covered one of the most popular spin-off seasons, Dino Thunder, and while I do highly recommend checking out that video, you'll still be able to follow along without it. There might just be a familiar face that crosses over between seasons. So grab yourself a drink and get comfy as we dive into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Kicking off the Power Rangers craze is the episode Day of the Dumpster. The diabolical Rita Repulsa and her henchmen have emerged from a 10,000-year imprisonment on the moon in a dumpster. She quickly makes her intentions known, the complete domination of the nearest planet, Earth.
That's when I destroy the nearest planet!
Hey, 10,000 years trapped in a dumpster? I'd be pretty cranky too. Back on Earth, 5 teenagers, Jason, Zach, Kimberly, Trini, and Billy, are all hanging around one of their go-to hangout spots, the Angel Grove Youth Center. Here, they fend off the brash bullies Bulk and Skull. But these guys will be the least of their worries soon enough, though, as an earthquake shocks the youth center. Suddenly, the 5 teens are teleported to a futuristic room with a robot named Alpha 5.
A fully sentient, multifunctional automaton. Never seen anything like it.
And some giant floating head guy. This isn't just some floating head guy, though. This is Zordon, the Galactic Wizard, and he has chosen Jason, Zach, Kimberly, Trini, and Billy to take on the role of the Power Rangers to fight the forces of evil. As Power Rangers, the teens will be granted an assortment of powers and gadgets associated with dinosaurs that are assigned to them. Jason becomes the Red Ranger and is assigned the T-Rex for his boldness and raw power. Zach is the Black Ranger and is assigned the Mastodon for his cleverness and bravery. Kimberly is given command of the Pterodactyl for her grace and intelligence and becomes the Pink Ranger. Billy is patient and wise, so he's assigned the Triceratops and becomes the Blue Ranger. Lastly, Trini becomes the Yellow Ranger and is assigned the Saber-Tooth Tiger for her fearlessness and agility. The newly appointed Power Rangers leave Zordon's command center.
He could have sent us back into town.
And are immediately ambushed by Rita's Putty Patrol. Yes, Putty. These guys, as well as all monsters under Rita's command, are molded in putty by Finster and brought to life in the Monstermatic machine. Bringing art to life, I love it. Minus the whole world domination thing, I love it. Anyway, the teens initiate their very first morph into the Power Rangers and are teleported back to Angel Grove. Here, one of Rita's henchmen, Goldar, is waiting for them with more putties. With their new powers, the Rangers make quick work of Goldar and his goons. But Rita's got one final trick up her sleeve. She launches her magic wand to Earth.
Magic wand! Make my Goldar grow!
Goldar grows exponentially, towering above the city. The Rangers then call on their robotic dinosaur companions, the Dino Zords. These Zords, when combined, become the formidable Megazord, and Goldar is fully defeated. This sequence will be used as the formula for most of the episodes in the series. The Rangers fight a monster grows, and the Rangers call on their Zords, and Rita runs off with a splitting headache.
It won't happen again, Empress.
Shut up, I've got a headache!
It's pretty simple stuff, but man, it is always cool. Having fully experienced their powers, the teens agree to take on the responsibility of the Power Rangers, which comes with a few simple rules. Never use their powers for personal gain. Never escalate a battle unless forced to do so, and keep their identities a secret. Looks like the world has some heroes looking out for them now. Rita better watch her back. This next episode, Teamwork, is all about the Rangers coming together as a team. Obviously, Trini and Kimberly are working on a campaign to clean up the Angel Grove Industrial Disposal. Zach, Jason, and Billy, though, have some other matters to attend to. They're not able to accompany them on their trip to the waste site.
It would be a lot more impressive if we acted like a team.
Now, the thing about the industrial disposal is that it's actually part of a major plot by Rita to pollute the entire planet to make it easier for conquest. Wow, that is diabolical. Anyway, Trini and Kimberly are ambushed by putties at the waste site. And elsewhere, Finster's latest creation, the Mighty Minotaur, is wreaking havoc. Goldar arrives on scene to distract Trini and Kimberly, so Zach, Jason, and Billy are left to fend off the Minotaur on their own. It's only when they all band together that the Rangers are able to bring the fight to the beast.
Working together as a team is their only hope now.
But even then, this monster is so strong. Zordon orders the Rangers to retreat to the command center, and he unveils new weapons for them. Jason gets the red power sword, Zack gets the black power axe, Billy gets the blue power lance, Trini the yellow power daggers, and Kimberly the pink power bow. The Rangers stun Mighty Minotaur and come together to combine their weapons into the Power Blaster, finally defeating the monster for good. Hey, teamwork makes the dream work, right? In this next episode, Power Ranger Punks, Billy and Kimberly have their personalities altered. Babu, Rita's alchemist and potion maker, has concocted an elixir he calls the Punk Potion that will turn anybody who drinks it into a punk or a bully. While at the park playing volleyball, the Rangers are ambushed by putties, which offer enough distraction for Babu to slip the potion into the Rangers' drinks. Billy and Kimberly are the only ones to consume the potion, and their new personalities even give Bulk and Skull a run for their money. Literally.
Machine pencil neck.
Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
This sort of brutish behavior isn't part of being a Power Ranger, so Zordon summons the teens to the command center and essentially quarantines Billy and Kimberly until he can come up with an antidote. Unfortunately, Finster's latest creation, the Terror Toad, is attacking. Trini, Jason, and Zack leave to fight off the monster, but he's super powerful, and he's super hungry. The Terror Toad's whole shtick is that he has a never-ending hunger and will eat any and everything, including the Power Rangers. Jason is the only Ranger left standing, so Zordon sends Alpha 5 to a different dimension to retrieve the singing squash, well, it's a squash that sings, so just go with it. This ingredient is the only thing that can turn Billy and Kimberly back to their usual selves. After consuming the antidote, their noble personalities are restored, and they're sent off to help Jason. But even then, the Toad is too strong, and he takes out both Billy and Jason. Kimberly pulls out her power bow and fires a well-placed shot into the Terror Toad's weak point, freeing her comrades. With everyone back in full force, the Rangers destroy the Terror Toad, saving the day once again. This next episode, Green with Evil Part 1, Out of Control, kicks off with an epic 5-part story arc, starring the new kid on the block, Tommy Oliver. Just like Jason, Tommy possesses a lot of skill in martial arts, and the episode kicks off with the two facing off in a competition. It ends in a draw, but both teams earn a great deal of respect from one another, and Tommy attracts the eye of Kimberly. Oh, looks like somebody has a crush.
He is really cute.
However, Tommy's performance also earned the attention of her evilness, Rita Repulsa. She kidnaps Tommy and places him under her magic and gives him the Dragon Power Coin. Each of the Rangers has their own power coin, which gives them the power to morph. Simple enough, right? So by granting Tommy a power coin, Rita has essentially granted him the abilities of a Power Ranger, the Green Ranger. But he is magically under her control. She takes full advantage of this fact.
To the fall of Zordon and the destruction of the Power Rangers!
And sends Tommy to infiltrate and sabotage the command center. After this, the Green Ranger finds and defeats the Power Rangers.
Long live Empress Rita!
On the retreat back to the command center, the original Power Rangers find the place in ruin, Alpha 5 malfunctioning, and Zordon is missing. Worst of all, they have no idea where to even begin in figuring out what's going on. The next part, Jason's battle, sees the Rangers scrambling for answers to who the Green Ranger is, and how they can repair the command center. On the other side of things, everything is going exactly according to Rita's plan. For the next phase, Rita sends Tommy through another trial against the buddies to prove his worth. When he succeeds, he is awarded the Sword of Darkness, a fabled artifact gifted to Rita. By giving it to Tommy, though, she solidifies her power over him, making him blindly loyal. And incredibly mean, it seems. Even in his normal day-to-day life, Tommy is harsh, cruel, and just rude. He gives Kimberly the cold shoulder when she approaches him about skipping out on a hangout, only adding more stress to the Pink Ranger's shoulders.
You are not the center of everyone's universe.
Well, excuse me for living.
Little does she know that Tommy is the key to everything that's going on. Back at the command center, Billy and Trini have gotten Alpha 5 up and running, but the main computer system that hones it on Zordon is going to require a lot of time and power. Two resources the Rangers don't have. Especially now that the Green Ranger is attacking again, and Jason is nowhere to be found. Knowing Jason, though, he isn't just skipping out and giving up. Quite the opposite. He desperately wants to get his hands on the Green Ranger to get some answers.
Man, I wish I knew who this green guy was. I can't get him off my mind.
Unfortunately, though, Tommy cast some sort of spell on Jason that teleported him to a jail cell where he's being tormented by the infamous Goldar. This means the fearless Red Ranger is out of action for the battle with the Green Ranger, and with the Sword of Darkness in hand, the Rangers struggle against their new foe, only winning once they call upon their Zords. Though they achieve a narrow victory, the Rangers are no closer to the truth.
You
haven't lost your evilness. You still have Jason.
This next part, the rescue, sees the Rangers reunited once again. Before that, however, Kimberly and Zach seem to be noticing something is up with Tommy. Now, not the fact that he wears exclusively green and is the Green Ranger, even though I feel like that should be a dead giveaway, but his story simply isn't adding up about meeting with Jason.
Tommy said he was supposed to meet Jason after school, but he never showed.
That's bogus. I know Jason was there.
So the two try to catch up with him to talk, but are intercepted by the putties. They don't attack Tommy, which again raises some questions, but the Rangers still haven't connected the dots quite yet. Back at the command center, Billy and Alpha 5 have had some serious headway in getting everything up and running. And Billy's gotten the communicators back online as well. You know, all this and the rad bug, I hope Billy's getting some extra credit at school or something. The kid's a genius. Anyway, with the communicators back, they're able to hone in on Jason's position and teleport him back to the command center right before he's impaled by the Green Ranger. Talk about a close call.
Guys, I was way too close. Green Ranger nearly sliced and diced me.
There isn't much time to rest, as the Rangers are all back in action to take on Rita's old friend, Scorpina, who is supposed to be an incredibly dangerous and serious threat. But, well, the Rangers actually make pretty quick work of her in this time around. So Rita sends out in a large Goldar to cause a ruckus in downtown Angel Grove. Scorpina, Goldar, and the Green Ranger. Looks like our heroes have a lot to handle in this episode. The next part, Eclipsing Megazord, sees Rita enact her foolproof plan to defeat the Rangers. And man, the odds are stacked against them. While Goldar is destroying downtown, the Rangers find themselves unable to morph thanks to an interdimensional power surge that has shut down the Morphin grid. It's the galactic power source for all these Power Rangers. But once again, Billy is able to overcome the odds by moving a few wires around, overcoming an intergalactic power crisis. Okay, forget extra credit, this kid has gotta be talking to NASA or something.
Electrode. Take this positive electrode.
With their morphers back online, the Rangers take on Goldar and Scorpina. But of course, Rita has a backup plan. Civilians. Jeez. Bulk and Skull find themselves behind the wheel of a bus. Goldar takes hold of this bus and positions it on the edge of a cliff face.
Stop screaming. Stop moving. Stop breathing.
The Rangers watch as their friends dangle precariously, so they call on the Megazord to save them. This plays directly into Rita's hands, as she casts a spell to cause an eclipse. This weakens the Megazord's power supply. This would make the fight with Goldar difficult, but throw in a giant Scorpina and a giant Green Ranger and the battle is practically impossible, even with the power sword. And as it turns out, these odds are too much for the Rangers. They're defeated by Rita's lackeys, and their Zords are cast into molten lava beneath the Earth's surface. With a huge chunk of their power lost, the Rangers are vulnerable, and so is Earth.
It's like Rita destroyed a part of us.
They were always there for us when we needed them.
Now they're gone!
But all is not lost, because as the episode ends, the Rangers gain a valuable and key piece of intel: the identity of the Green Ranger. Maybe they can use this to shift the tide in their favor. Here we go. The next episode, Green with Evil, Part 5, Breaking the Spell, is the epic finale to the Green Ranger's corruption story arc. However, there is still another introduction to make here at the end: the Dragon Zord. As we know, each Ranger is granted control over specific power Zords, so here's the deal. The Green Ranger has control over the Dragon Zord. So by association, Rita has control over it, and she has Tommy use it to wreak even more havoc than Goldar did. The Rangers do what they can to turn Tommy back to the side of good, but the spell is too strong.
Tommy, please, let us help you.
You have been warned.
The only way to break it is to destroy the Sword of Darkness. And with their Zords destroyed, the Rangers seem to be facing insurmountable odds yet again. But just in the nick of time, Alpha 5 is able to lock onto Zordon signal, ushering a wave of power that reawakens the Power Rangers dinosaurs. With the Megazord back online, the Rangers take down the Dragon Zord, and it all comes down to a final battle between Tommy and Jason. Call back to the beginning of the arc, anybody? Did you notice that? Kinda cool. This time though, their fight doesn't end in a draw. Jason overcomes Tommy and uses his blaster to destroy the Sword of Darkness, breaking Rita's hold on him. Tommy awakens filled with guilt and regret, but Jason and the other Rangers welcome him into their fold with open arms. With Tommy back on the side of good, the Dragon Zord is added to the Ranger arsenal,
Look, Zordon!
You're watching History in the Making, Alpha.
opening up a new possible battle mode for their Zords to morph into. Rita came a little too close to victory this time, but with a new ally. Perhaps this is the closest that she'll ever come. In our next episode, Life's a Masquerade, Rita begins the development of a new plan to destroy the Power Rangers. Finster creates a terrible, vicious, horrifically disgusting new monster, the Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, he's kind of just a guy, to be honest. I don't know how to describe him, but he fits right in because it's Halloween time in Angel Grove, so he slips in practically undetected.
Now that is a costume.
He doesn't really understand human social interaction though, which tips off Billy to investigate. So he follows the monster to a cave where Finster is working on something even more devious, the Super Putty Patroller. Finster is working really hard this episode, but before Billy can learn anything else or get a good look, he's detected and driven out of the cave. Billy and the other Rangers have their costume party cut short when Rita attacks the city by enlarging the Frankenstein's monster. And despite his rather simple appearance, this guy actually puts up one hell of a fight and wards off both the Megazord and Tommy's Dragonzord at the same time. The Rangers mix things up a bit,
Time to regroup! Let's do it!
demorphing the Megazord and having it remorph into the Dragonzord battle mode. Essentially, another combination of their dinosaurs that has a very different variety of weapons. This tactic proves incredibly effective, as the Dragonzord impales the Frankenstein's monster with the power staff, ending Rita's attack on the city and saving the day, yet again.
Oh, I have such a headache, I just can't stand it!
In this next episode, Gung-ho, Rita finally unveils her new and improved Super Putty Patrollers. However, the main story of this episode revolves around the team dynamics between Tommy and Jason. As you may recall, the very first time we met Tommy was in a competition against Jason, where the two ended their bout in a draw. This went on to show that the two of them are basically equals when it comes to their fighting capabilities. This has led to a sort of rivalry between the two, as they each try and one-up each other. There really isn't any anger or malice associated with it. However, it does make it a little difficult for the two to simply work together without trying to be better than the other one.
Now you two have to learn how to gung-ho. It's Chinese for working together.
Now, when Rita attacks with the Super Putties, the Rangers are pushed to the limit, and there's really nothing in their arsenal that can combat them effectively. Zordon instructs Jason and Tommy to go and locate a new weapon that will aid them, but they will have to work as a unit in order to retrieve it. Meanwhile, the rest of the Rangers act as a sort of distraction, holding off the Super Putties for as long as they can. This displays the power of the new foes. Even when they do manage to be defeated, they reform twice as strong. Jason and Tommy arrive at their destination, where a massive Brachiosaurus Zord named Titanus is guarding a shrine. Tommy and Jason set their differences aside and acknowledge each other's strengths over the other. This allows them to formulate a plan that will see them effectively come together as one unstoppable unit. They are able to overcome Titanus and retrieve the Thunder Slinger's powerful blasters. The duo return to their teammates and destroy the Super Putties for good. Gonna have to do better than that to stop the Rangers, Rita. Come on, they're the best. In this next episode, Island of Illusion Part 1, Rita finds a rare weakness in the Rangers, themselves. And no, I don't mean a traitor in their ranks, I mean self-doubt, specifically in Zack, who doubts his dancing capabilities for an upcoming contest.
Now he just tripped himself up, just like I'm gonna do at the dance contest.
Rita calls forth the mighty Lokar and the disgusting Mutatus. However, these guys are to be more of a force to cripple the Rangers instead of destroying them. And what they do, by hurling toxic acid on the Zords, the Rangers are left nearly defenseless, allowing Rita to transport them to an island of her own making, the Island of Illusion. This next episode, Island of Illusion Part 2, sees the Rangers face some of their greatest fears, while they're trapped in another dimension of Rita's making. Essentially, when one of the Rangers begins to feel unconfident or unsure of themselves, they slowly fade away. Only by focusing in and thinking positive thoughts about themselves can they break the spell. They learn this thanks to a man on the island named Quagmire.
Quagmire!
Speak my name and I appear.
First to succumb to Rita's illusions is Zack, who's been plagued by doubt the most. However, he thinks back to a battle he had with one of Rita's monsters named the Nasty Knight. It was a rough battle, but Zack found the power he needed to overcome the obstacle. This line of positive thinking brings Zack back from the brink. Kimberly then begins seeing illusions of Bulk and Skull being nice. Impossible, I know. But this illusion prompts self-doubt to creep in. So she thinks back to the battle with the Terror Toad and how she saved all of her friends from being eaten. Ugh. Not gonna lie, didn't really want to think about that fight again. Nonetheless, this helps bring her back. Tommy then suffers from hallucinations that turn his friends into putty patrollers, and he starts doubting his fighting abilities.
Don't let Rita steer you wrong. Think strong thoughts. You'll be strong.
However, when he thinks about the time that he's taken on the putty patrol alone, which has been, honestly, quite a lot, his mind is set at ease. Trini then begins to think about the time when she was forced to overcome her fear of heights to save Billy. She, of course, did best this fear of hers, and this thought stops her from fading away. Billy as well begins to question his intelligence, which, if you ask me, is absolutely wild. The kid built a flying car, but whatever. To combat the self-doubt, Billy thinks back to a time when he saved his friends from one of Rita's monsters, Madame Woe, stopping himself from fading away. Lastly, Jason is convinced that he's a terrible leader. But he thinks back on a battle with King Sphinx, wherein Jason came out on top despite the odds being stacked against him. With all the Rangers free from Rita's spell, they're able to leave the island and continue the fight with Mutinous and Lokar.
I can't believe it! They beat all my illusions!
And with this newfound confidence, the Rangers seem to have tapped into a new level of power. They morph all their Zords into one and call upon Titanus to form into the Ultra Zord, perhaps the most powerful combination of the dinosaurs possible, certainly the most powerful so far. They launch all of their weapons at Lokar and Mutidus and send them packing. The day is saved, and the Rangers are probably closer than ever before. In this next episode, The Green Candle Part 1, sparks are flying between Tommy and Kimberly. Sort of. Tommy really wants to ask Kimberly to the upcoming dance at school, but before he finds the confidence, the two are ambushed by Putties and Goldar. However, they aren't here to destroy the two of them. Instead, they only wish to kidnap Tommy. The closest Rita has gotten to actually winning was when she had the Green Ranger under her control. Of course, with Tommy being now sided with the Rangers, things have only gotten more difficult for her. So she has concocted a plan to deal with Tommy, the Green Candle. You see, Rita got her hands on a special wax that she has magically linked to Tommy, specifically to his powers as the Green Ranger. Once the candle burns out, his powers are gone for good. So Goldar offers Tommy an ultimatum: work for Rita or lose his powers.
If you serve Rita, you can keep your powers. If not, you'll lose them when the candle burns out.
Meanwhile, in other Finster's creations, the Cyclops is stomping all over Angel Grove. The poor city, it just can't catch a break. I mean, they gotta be running out of money to rebuild by now, right? The thing about Cyclops as well is that it can morph into just about anything, so it has turned itself into the Dino Zord. It's only once Tommy escapes Rita's Dark Dimension prison that the Rangers are able to send Cyclops packing. But still, the Green Candle is lit, and it's only a matter of time before the Green Ranger is no more.
Rita wasn't bluffing. Once the candle burns out, I'm history.
This next episode, The Green Candle Part 2, goes over the Rangers' response to the news of Tommy losing his powers. The only way to counteract the spell is to take the candle away from Rita. This means that one of the Rangers is going to have to break into the Dark Dimension prison, and the only other one that has been there besides Tommy is Jason, so he volunteers to go.
I'm not gonna stand by and watch while we lose a teammate.
As far as actually getting there, just leave it to Billy. He'll come up with something, I'm sure. Spoiler, he does. Billy just casually builds a device that can not only trace molecular particles, but can follow them through dimensions. However, it's not going to be as easy as walking in and taking the candle. Jason has to face off against Goldar once again, and with all the Rangers on standby for Jason, Angel Grove is vulnerable to attack from Cyclops. Tommy jumps in by himself to take on the monster, but he transforms over and over again, pushing Tommy to his absolute limits. Zordon is left with no choice but to order Jason and the original Rangers to abort their mission so they can assist Tommy.
If we don't get to him in time, he'll lose his life.
Jason escapes from the Dark Dimension, and all 6 of the Rangers take on the Ultra Zord form to blast Cyclops away for good. Unfortunately, though, they were unsuccessful in retrieving the candle, and the candle was no bluff. Tommy hands over his power coin to Jason to prevent Rita from getting it. This unfortunately means that Tommy's no longer the Green Ranger. It's not all doom and gloom though. Even without his powers, Tommy finds the confidence he needs to finally ask out Kimberly. Love is in the air, friends, even in the bleakest of times. The next story arc, Doomsday, sees the Rangers take on perhaps the most dangerous battle they've ever faced. So far throughout the series, Rita's monsters and minions have stomped around in Angel Grove over and over. Yet it always seemed like the city turned out okay, with practically no injuries or any real danger to any people. This time around though, Rita casts a spell that teleports the entire population of Angel Grove to an interdimensional vortex. She has put civilians directly in the line of fire, and if the Rangers lose this one, the entirety of Angel Grove will be lost between dimensions forever. Beyond this, Rita has also moved her entire base of operations from the moon smack dab in the middle of the city.
If she brings it to Earth as I fear she may, it will greatly increase her powers.
Basically, Rita's making some pretty big moves, so it's kind of impressive. To supplement such a bold plan, Rita has awoken Goldar's very own Zord, Cyclopsis. Yes, this whole time, Goldar has had his own Zord on standby and hasn't even been using it. And Goldar is insanely powerful beyond the controls of Cyclopsis, taking out the original Megazord and the Dinozord in battle mode with ease. It's not until the Rangers form into the Ultra Zord that they're able to even scratch Cyclopsis, and they make sure to blast him into oblivion when they do. It's a short-lived victory though, as Rita summons a crater that consumes Titanus, meaning no more Ultra Zord for the Rangers.
Titanus is gone! Now what?
I don't know, Billy.
And she summons the mighty Lokar again, and uses his powers to reconstruct Cyclopsis. All that work, and really no gain for the Rangers. With stakes this high, They really have to dig deep to stop Rita. The next part to this episode, Doomsday Part 2, sees the Rangers scrambling to find a way to stop Cyclopsis and Lokar. The Zords took an intense beating in the last episode and need hours to recharge, but the Rangers simply don't have that much time to launch an attack.
If the Zords' backups fail, you and everything in the morphing grid could vanish forever. Do you really want to try this?
With seemingly no other options, the Rangers decide to launch with their Zords at half power. This goes just about as good as you'd imagine. They get absolutely stomped, but that's okay, because during the battle, Alpha and Zordon make a huge discovery. With Rita's base on Earth, they are now within range for the main computer to reach her database, meaning they can hack in and learn all of her spells, intel, and most importantly, her weaknesses.
Excellent, Alpha. That means we have access to her files of spells and secrets. They
soon learn that Cyclopsis' power comes from the fact that it can adapt its tactics based on whatever figuration the Rangers' Zords are in. However, Cyclopsis has to draw a ton of power to make those readings and make those adjustments. So if the Rangers switch between configurations in quick succession, they'll overload the seemingly indestructible foe. With this intel in mind, the Rangers take on Cyclopsis one last time, and basically confuse him enough to weaken him and blast him into oblivion with the Ultra Zord again. With the destruction of Cyclopsis, Rita takes her moon base back to the moon, and everyone is teleported back to Angel Grove. The Rangers are lauded as the heroes that they are. Finally, the Rangers can enjoy the newest holiday, Power Ranger Day. In the next episode, Return of an Old Friend Part 1, it's Parents' Day in Angel Grove, so all of our heroes' parents are gathered at the youth center for a big party. And before you ask, yes, even the Rangers' parents color code their clothing. Today is supposed to simply be a nice day for our teen heroes, especially Kimberly, who will get to see her parents together for the first time since they split up. However, Rita has other plans. With all of the Rangers' parents in one location, she decides to use this as an opportunity to gain some bargaining leverage and kidnap all of the parents. Damn, that's cruel.
Once we have their parents, the ransom will be their surrender to me!
Beyond this, she gasses Billy with some sort of mind control spray and forces him to steal the Dragon Dagger, Tommy's old dagger that controls the Dragon Zord. Goldar uses the dagger to unleash the Dragon Zord across the city, and gives the Rangers an ultimatum: hand over their power coins or lose their parents forever.
Turn over the power coins or lose your parents forever!
Now remember, these coins are the source of power that allows the teens to morph into the Power Rangers and control the Zords. Without them, they're practically defenseless. That's why Tommy is no longer a Ranger. It's a tough decision, but the Rangers decide to save their parents and hand over their coins. But of course, Goldar and Rita are completely evil, so instead of making good on their promise, they keep both the coins and the Rangers' parents. Okay, that's just rude. Looks like Jason had one final trick up his sleeve though. He did hand over his power coin, but if you recall at the end of the Green Candle story arc, Jason was given a second power coin, Tommy's, and he still has it. With Tommy's appearance at the end of the episode, there's renewed hope for the Rangers after all. And just as a quick side note here, the Green Ranger was in fact meant to be completely written off the show after Green Candle, but his character was so immensely popular that the writers found a way to bring him back in. And considering how important Tommy Oliver proves to be in the whole of Power Rangers lore, that was definitely a good call. In the next part of Return of an Old Friend, Tommy is teleported back into the command center, since he's their only hope left. However, with the Green Candle burnt out, Tommy doesn't have his powers anymore, even with his power coin.
The only way possible is to infuse Tommy with an enormous amount of my own energy.
To compensate for this, Zordon transfers some of his power over to Tommy, temporarily allowing him to morph into the Green Ranger again. And Goldar, in all of his wisdom, arrives back on Earth with the power coins and the Dragon Dagger for some reason. You'd think they'd want to keep those secure somewhere, but whatever. Tommy is able to retrieve the dagger and the power coins before being teleported back to the command center. With the Rangers now fully powered up, they head out to face the vicious Dramole monster, the one that captured the parents in the first place. Unfortunately, Tommy is left out of the action for the first part of this battle because Zordon's power supply is just way too much for a non-superhuman. But after a while, he begins to glow green, and the power he touched when getting the power coins begin to fuse with him.
And the energy from the force field has restored your powers!
Meaning that Tommy is now a Power Ranger once again, albeit not at full power. With a full 6-person team, the Rangers defeat Dramole and save the parents of Angel Grove. This next episode, Mighty Morphin Mutants, is our final stop in Season 1. This time around, Rita and Goldar decide to fight fire with fire, and by that I mean Rangers with Rangers. Goldar has trained up a small unit of putties to fight in the exact same ways that the Rangers do. Beyond that, Rita gives him the Badges of Darkness, which allows them to take on the same form as the Rangers. That's right, it's an evil clone episode. All of the Rangers have clones except for the Red Ranger, since a putty has yet to prove itself strong enough to operate as the leader of the mutant Rangers.
No one's worthy of becoming Red Ranger!
Instead, Rita calls upon Finster's creation, the Commander Crayfish, to lead them into battle. And when I say these guys fight like the Rangers, I really mean it. They go blow for blow with essentially the same moveset and weapons, including the Power Blaster. To push the odds in their favor, Zordon grants the Rangers their emergency weapons, which are essentially upgraded versions of their original power weapons. And with these upgrades comes an upgraded Power Blaster as well, which blasts the mutants away. But of course, Rita makes her minions grow, forcing the Rangers to call upon their Zords. They ultimately defeat Commander Crayfish and the false Rangers by blasting them away with the Ultra Zord. Another day, another win for the real Rangers.
I just don't believe it!
This episode, titled The Mutiny, kicks off Season 2 with a 3-part special that introduces a new villain. The bigger, the badder, the scarier Lord Zedd. I mean, just look at this guy. His brain's exposed, and he's got a staff that turns into a snake. He's like 10 times more repulsive than Rita, and her last name is Repulsa.
Ah yes, Goldar, the groveling one.
Anyway, Lord Zedd is the overlord that commands the evil space aliens and outranks Rita Repulsa. Zedd has grown tired of Rita's continued failure, and has arrived at the Moon Palace to take over the operation. Before even considering taking the fight to Earth, he banishes Rita from the palace in the dumpsters she was trapped in all the way back at the beginning.
You won't get away with this!
So yeah, just like that, Rita is gone, and Zedd is in charge. And man, does this guy mean business. I mean, not only is he himself incredibly fearsome, his army of Z putty patrollers is so much stronger than Rita's army. Just a small detachment of the new and improved grunts gives the Rangers a run for their money.
They're too strong.
We can't give up. We've got to find their weak spot.
Right.
But they quickly learn that they do have a weakness: the Z insignia adorned to the chest piece. Even still, they barely make it out of the small skirmish, but Zedd doesn't relent and creates his very own monster using his staff, Parantis Head. And just to exemplify how strong this monster is, he's already tearing apart buildings in Angel Grove before becoming enormous. To make matters worse, he's frozen the Zords before they've even had an opportunity to make it to the fight.
Oh man, he froze the Zords! We're history!
Strap in, guys. The Rangers have a lot on their plate this season. The next part of The Mutiny expands further upon the power of Lord Zedd and Parantis Head. Not only was the monster able to completely freeze some of the original Zords, he's actually able to completely take control of the Tyranno-Zord and Dragon-Zord. Luckily though, Zordon and Alpha anticipated the arrival of Zedd and came up with a contingency plan. The Dino-Zords simply do not have enough power to take on this new foe, so an upgrade is required. Now by upgrade, I mean entirely new Zords. The Thunder Zords. Dude, these things are so cool.
You now need stronger new Zords equipped with the power of thunder to defeat Lord Zedd.
There's the Red Dragon Thunder Zord, the Black Lion, the Blue Unicorn, Yellow Griffin, and lastly the Pink Firebird Thunder Zord. It's real like mythical stuff, it's awesome. These new upgrades and everything are great and all, but they exclude Tommy since he isn't back to full power, yet. However, before they're able to access these new machines, they must save the original Dino-Zords. A tough feat considering the power of Parantis Head and the Z-Putties.
Looks like we got our work cut out for us, guys.
For the final part of the mutiny, the Rangers play out an ambitious plan to get their Zords back. Billy has created and activated a signal blocker that should pull their Zords away from Zedd's influence. It doesn't really work at first. He put the batteries in backwards.
I don't believe it. I put the battery in upside down.
Our genius.
But when the blocker comes online, the Tyranno and Dragon Zords fall back into Ranger control. As retaliation, Zedd opens up a ravine in the earth and sends the rest of the Zords into a fiery inferno. But Alpha is able to recover just enough of them to get the Thunder Zords online.
Quite Trini. Alpha managed to save enough of your old Zords to create the new Zords.
Just in the nick of time, too, as Zedd throws down a sort of grenade-looking thing that amplifies Parantis Head's powers and makes him grow. The Rangers call on their Zords and form together to create the Thunder Megazord. It's basically the same thing as the original Megazord, but it's cooler in every way. Plus, it's significantly more powerful and takes out Parantis Head using the Thunder Saber with samurai-like precision. Zedd's arrival may pose new challenges, but it looks like the Rangers are up to the task. The next story arc, Green No More, sees Lord Zedd enact a plan to completely diminish the powers of the Green Ranger, for good, through the use of a green crystal that siphons his energy.
I can feel it siphoning off the Green Ranger's powers.
Unfortunately for Tommy, his power levels are so low, it's looking like he only has one fight left in him. Outside of this, there's a new group of teens at Angel Grove, some real charmers. And by that, I mean bigger bullies than Bulk and Skull. So mean, in fact. Zedd identifies them as the perfect candidates to be his new Dark Rangers.
Those are my 5 warriors, the final element to complete my plan.
These guys, as well as Zedd's newest monster, Turbine Shell, should prove to be a sufficient enough threat to completely destroy the Rangers. Turbine Shell puts up enough of a fight on his own to drain the Green Rangers of all of his power and completely charge the Green Crystal. Soon after this battle, all of the Rangers are teleported to Zedd's pocket dimension, the Otherworld, where Turbine Shell hunts down Tommy in a field and Zedd introduces the original 5 Rangers to his new, evil, despicable, and honestly kinda goofy looking Dark Rangers. While in the Otherworld, the Rangers are left stranded without their powers, and will need to really dig deep to escape. In the next part of the Green No More story arc, Zedd releases the Rangers back to the real world, cut off from Zordon and without their morphers. This means they have to just sit back and watch as Turbine Shell destroys Angel Grove.
You will suffer the agony of knowing you can do nothing to save Angel Grove.
Inside the Otherworld, a powerless Tommy is berated by Goldar. But Goldar's ego gets the better of him once again when he demands Tommy admit defeat before actually defeating him with a time device. Yeah, smart move, Goldar. Tommy fights back and uses the time device to send Goldar away and contact himself in the past to retrieve his communicator, which allows him to teleport out of the Otherworld. However, he quickly decides to teleport back in after Billy reestablishes contact with the command center. Zordon informs the Rangers that they must destroy the Green Crystal, and Tommy volunteers. By destroying the crystal, Tommy, which causes the Dark Rangers to return to normal, gives the Rangers back their morphers and siphons some power back into Tommy, meaning he's enough fight in him for one more fight.
It's impossible!
Afraid not, Zedd. Game's over.
And it's a good thing too, because the ensuing battle with Turbine Shell goes incredibly poorly. To defeat him, the Rangers must attack him from the inside with heat and blast him from the outside with cold to make him vulnerable. After doing so, the Thunder Megazord makes quick work of the monster. With Turbine Shell and the Dark Rangers defeated, the day is saved. But unfortunately, once again, Tommy's powers have been drained, and his title of the Green Ranger is gone for good this time. Hey, maybe he can take a vacation or something. He's earned it. This next story arc, White Light, is one of, if not, the most iconic in the entire franchise. Zordon and Alpha 5 have essentially disappeared this episode to go and work on a secret mission of theirs.
Preparations are complete, and I'm on my way.
Their absence from the command center creates a weakness in the Morphin grid, one that Zedd can hone in on. So this is the perfect opportunity for him to launch what is perhaps his most devastating monster yet, Nimrod, the Scarlet Sentinel. While Zedd is charging up Nimrod, we get the opportunity to catch up with Tommy, who actually did go on vacation, but it was cut short because he's once again kidnapped by the evil aliens. Dude, he just cannot catch a break. Outside of Zedd's latest nefarious plans, an old friend of ours seems to be making a surprise return, Miss Rita Repulsa. You see, Bulk and Skull have sorta put bullying on the back burner as of late in favor of a new adventure, discovering the secret identities of the Power Rangers. Of course, these guys aren't the greatest investigators, but they still try. In this episode, they're waiting for some sort of sign or lead to get them on their way when a meteor crashes near them.
You asked for a sign, but I changed my mind.
Inside the crater, they find none other than Rita's banishment dumpster, which the guys immediately work on opening. Gotta say, I would have launched Rita in the opposite direction of Earth to prevent something like this from happening, but I'm not an evil emperor. Anyway, Nimrod powers up and gives the Rangers probably the quickest beating that they've ever received. Despite the goofy name, Nimrod is actually really powerful, primarily due to the fact that she has the ability to summon 2 more monsters to fight alongside her, making the fight a 3-on-1. This forces Billy to retreat back to the command center to find some answers, and inside, he sees Zordon and Alpha's secret mission, a brand new Ranger, the White Ranger. Oh, I'm so excited.
Amazing.
This next part of White Light sees the unveiling of the Power Rangers' new leader, the White Ranger. Created entirely by Zordon using the light of good, this Ranger cannot be corrupted like the Green Ranger, and he's a whole host of upgrades. Chief among these upgraded is Saba the Saber, who's basically a sentient sword that is used to communicate with other Rangers and is, of course, a very powerful weapon. However, most impressively, Saba is used as the control mechanism for the all-new White Tiger Zord. But who could be deemed so worthy to be given all these powerful new weapons and lead a team that's already been working together for so long? None other than good old Tommy Oliver. We were led to believe last episode that Tommy was kidnapped by Zedd, when in fact he was being teleported to the command center. Surprise!
Is it really you?
In the flesh.
And we get the opportunity to see all these fancy new upgrades in action against Nimrod the Scarlet Sentinel. Tommy's gonna have to go at it alone, while Billy and Trini repair the beaten Zords, and while the rest of the Rangers go to stop Bulk and Skull from opening Rita's dumpster. And man, this White Tiger Zord is awesome. Even without any of the other Zords, it has some serious fighting potential in its warrior configuration. Not least of all, our specialized blast that Tommy can choose from using the orbs in the command deck. However, even with these fancy upgrades, the 3 Scarlet Sentinels put up a pretty good fight and forced Tommy to form into what is likely to be the most powerful Zord configuration yet, the Mega Tiger Zord, a combination of all the Zords except for the Red Dragon. This new form makes quick work of all 3 Sentinels and blasts them to bits. Zedd's new arsenal may not be as untouchable as the Rangers once thought. And yes, Tommy now wears white clothes as well as his usual green. He's so cool.
I think that your surprise was more of a surprise than our surprise.
This next story arc, the Ninja Encounter, introduces some new characters and really mixes things up for the Power Rangers. In part 1, there's a ninja tournament going on at the Angel Grove Youth Center that has brought out some of the best warriors. Lord Zedd sees this as the perfect opportunity to recruit some new forces to his side and create a new band of Dark Rangers. Before getting to the tournament though, we're introduced to 3 new characters from the Stone Canyon High that'll be participating in the tournament: Adam Park, Aisha Campbell, and Rocky DeSantis. These 3, as well as Billy, Tommy, and Kimberly, chase down a runaway stroller with a baby. And dude, this chase scene goes on for a comically long time. This baby is flying across the park, ramming through construction, pedestrians, just everything. But the Rangers and the 3 from Stone Canyon do eventually stop the little guy. At the ninja tournament, Aisha, Rocky, and Adam defeat their dirty fighting opponents. And although Zedd is annoyed that the Goody Two-Shoes won, he sends Goldar to capture them right outside the youth center.
Have no choice. We need fighters of their caliber to defeat the Power Rangers.
These 3 seem like the good guys though. I wouldn't be so sure that Zedd can sway them to his side. Part 3 of the Ninja Encounter sees the Rangers juggle between saving their new friends and fighting off the Terror Blossom. Time is of the essence, since Goldar unleashed an evil snake inside the cave that holds Aisha, Adam, and Rocky. And I mean, that would be scary just as it is, but this is no ordinary snake. Anybody bitten by the snake will be filled with the venom of darkness, which will immediately convert the victim to the forces of evil, making them blindly loyal.
Have it your way. One way or the other, you will serve Lord Zedd.
The Rangers band together initially to ward off Terror Blossom, but when the news of the snake reaches Zordon, he dispatches Billy, Kimberly, Trini, and Tommy to rescue the other teens and their teacher. Zach and Jason are left to face off against the Terror Blossom by themselves, but actually manage to take the monster down all by themselves. At the cave, Trini and Billy make it inside it and free the captives. Aisha, Rocky, and Adam actually serve as capable reinforcements in defeating the Z-Putties, and Trini teleports Mr. Anderson away from the battle. Once the battle is over, the Rangers notice that Billy is absent. He's still inside the cave struggling with the evil snake. He hasn't been bitten, but he's on the verge of suffocation. So Kimberly and Tommy are left with no choice but to remove his helmet. Billy, Tommy, and Kimberly's identities are revealed to a non-Ranger for the very first time.
Billy?
However, Aisha, Adam, and Rocky are honorable and noble souls, so they take a vow before Zordon, swearing to never reveal their secret. So these new guys, they must be pretty important people for them to be given the honor of maintaining the secret of the Power Rangers. I wonder where their story will take them. This next episode, Power Transfer Part 1, marks the beginning of the departure of 3 of our beloved Rangers, Trini, Zach, and Jason. A peace conference has been called in Switzerland, and teens from around the world are chosen to participate and give their perspective on world issues. Trini, Zach, and Jason have been chosen as the delegates from Angel Grove. This is a huge opportunity, but sadly this means their tenure as Power Rangers is coming to an end. This power vacuum would weaken the Rangers far too much, so they must transfer their powers over to new candidates. 3 characters who were just introduced. Coincidence?
Well, Zedd will most likely attack while they're at the Peace Summit.
That is exactly his plan.
However, before the transfer of power can commence, the Rangers must travel to the abandoned planet in the far reaches of the galaxy to retrieve the Sword of Light. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention, the Rangers can fly, so it's kinda cool. They take off into the atmosphere for their intergalactic adventure. Zedd, of course, realizes the opportunity before him. If he can prevent the Rangers from getting the Sword of Light, he'll be able to take over Earth with practically no resistance. To ensure this, he firstly sends out Babu and Squat to set off a sleeping machine that will knock out everybody in Angel Grove. If everyone in the city is asleep, Zordon won't be able to find any worthy candidates.
Count to 5. 1, 7, 2, 5. Then let go.
However, our newest friends, Aisha, Rocky, and Adam, were teleported away before they succumbed to the gas, and are tasked by Zordon to disable the machine. After this, he pulls out what is perhaps the most daunting enemy the Rangers have ever faced, his personal Zord, Serpentora. This thing is huge. Like, it makes the Thunder Megazord look like a fly on a windshield.
What was that? A mosquito? Ah!
On the abandoned planet, the Rangers manage to find the sword in the rubble of an abandoned city. So Zedd uses Serpentora to destroy the entire planet. Look, if anyone had any doubts about Zedd's true power, this should prove it. And if the Rangers can overcome this obstacle, there's hope for humanity yet. In the next part of Transfer of Power, the Rangers are able to retrieve the Sword of Light from the abandoned city just moments before Zedd completely disintegrates everything in sight. Whew, close call. Upon making it back to the command center, Zordon and Tommy proceed with the ceremony to transfer the power of Jason, Zack, and Trini over to the new Power Rangers. Aisha, the new Yellow Ranger, Adam, the new Black Ranger, and Rocky, the new Red Ranger. A job well done.
Jason, Zack, and Trini, power up.
Power up!
Bye, guys.
But Zedd's not through yet. While he's on the way back to Earth in Serpentora, Zedd unleashes a new monster upon Earth, Silver Horns. Great timing too. Looks like the new Rangers will get a bit of practice in. The Rangers put up a solid fight, forcing Zedd to make Silverhorns grow. The Rangers all form together into the Thunder Ultra Zord, including a new machine known as Tor the Shuttle Sword, basically a massive prehistoric turtle. With this massive new weapon, the Rangers make quick work of Silverhorns. As far as Serpentora goes, remember, this thing's massive, so it requires a ton of power. Too much power because just as it arrives, it actually shuts down, forcing Zedd and Goldar to retreat.
You've tear out of power again? Impossible!
The Rangers are back, and better than ever, and these new faces have some big shoes to fill. This next episode, Rangers Back in Time Part 1, kicks off another mini-story arc, and is the first time our new Rangers will be taking on one of Zedd's more ambitious plans. Since they've joined, Aisha, Adam, and Rocky have been valuable assets, and the Power Rangers really haven't even lost a step. This time around though, Zedd takes things up a notch, reversing the Earth's rotation using the Rock of Time. Again, Zedd's power is on full display. By altering the Earth's rotation, he reverses the way time moves on Earth, aging everybody on Earth down a few years. The Rangers are now children, and have no recollection of becoming Power Rangers.
Goodbye, Power Rangers. Your lives are about to change forever.
But they aren't defenseless. When the Z-Putties attack in the park, the Child Rangers actually manage to fend them off by hitting the Z insignia with dodgeballs. Look, Zedd might be powerful, but the Putties, not so much.
Those little Rangers sure were lucky.
This defense angers Zedd, so he sends down his latest monster, Photomare, who traps the kids inside of a photograph. Alpha and Zordon need to come up with a countermeasure quickly, because without the Rangers, Angel Grove is defenseless. The next part of Rangers Back in Time showcases the power of the new Ranger crew. Before we get to that though, the Rangers are still kids trapped in a photograph. To help the Rangers, Alpha 5 makes one of his very rare trips to the surface world. He retrieves the photograph from Bulk and Skull and uses a fancy machine to free the Rangers and return them to their normal age. Photomare and Goldar are still loose on the city, so the Rangers immediately hop into action. Tommy faces off with Goldar on the ground level, while the rest of the Rangers morph into the Thunder Megazord and make quick work of Photomare. There's still one final problem: the Rock of Time. You see, messing with the Earth's rotation not only causes disturbances with the space-time continuum, but also makes the Earth itself incredibly unstable. So the Rangers must destroy the time-bending stone. Zedd isn't going to make it easy though, and forces the Rangers to fight through numerous of his old monsters.
Beware! The Rock of Time is guarded by Zedd's most powerful monsters from the past.
Goldar and a horde of Z-Buddies, practically a whole army. Despite these intense odds, the Rangers blast through the old monsters one by one and successfully destroy the Rock of Time. Hey, they might be a little new, but Adam, Aisha, and Rocky seem to be fitting in wonderfully. In this next story arc, The Wedding, the Rangers make a trip to Australia for an exchange program. Not to worry though, because this trip coincides exactly when Lord Zedd has to take his centennial recharge. What a coincidence. However, Rita Repulsa makes another grand return to throw a wrench in this temporary peace, and she's concocted an absolutely devious plan to marry Zedd.
And will fall in love and marry me. Then both he and the universe will be ruled by...
Of course, there are a lot of moving parts for this plan, and she's going to need some help. Luckily, good old Finster is in fact still at the Moon Palace, and ever since Zedd's arrival, his services have been rendered irrelevant. Zedd makes his own monsters after all. Since he's basically jobless, Finster's ecstatic about Rita's return, and immediately jumps in to help her. Firstly, he travels to the Earth's surface, ambushes Alpha 5, and reprograms him. This reprogrammed Alpha cuts off communication with Zordon and traps the Rangers in the abandoned Spectre Theater.
This place is creepy.
Yeah, in a big way.
Which is a dangerous vortex that shuts off their power. Jeez, looks like Rita's not really playing around anymore. Back at the Moon Palace, she sneaks into Zedd's rejuvenation chamber and pumps a love potion into his body. Around the same time, Finster gets back to his old work with the Monster-matic machine, bringing back some of the most gruesome monsters to ambush the Rangers. Without their powers and with no Zordon, the Rangers are in deep, deep trouble. In the last part of the wedding story arc, Rita and Zedd go through with their evil wedding. Monsters, putties, and henchmen all gather around to commemorate the occasion, and the newlyweds ride off in Serpentera for their honeymoon. But things are cut short when the Rangers manage to ward off their captors and escape from the Spectre Theater. Every single monster and putty launch an all-out attack on the Rangers as they approach the command center.
Every last monster, creature, and goon, prepare to attack!
But are unable to capture them. Inside, Billy manages to fix Alpha's reprogramming, and by that I mean he just pulls out a CD from his bag. And after getting Zordon back online, the Rangers launch back into action. They're facing perhaps their most daunting task yet.
Nonetheless, you are outnumbered by the monsters. May the power protect you.
Not one, not two, not even three, but 7 monsters have grown and are attacking Angel Grove. Jeez. The Rangers quickly call upon the Thunder Megazord and the Tiger Zord in warrior mode. They ward off the monsters, and though it was a difficult battle, they ultimately defeat every single one with the Power Saber and Power Blasts. Rita and Zedd's marriage means double the evil, but double the losses too, it seems.
You are my wife, and I demand some respect!
Oh, yeah? Well, you can forget it!
In this next story arc, Return of the Green Ranger, the Green Ranger comes back. Rita and Zedd's first plan as husband and wife is actually a pretty good one, I'm not gonna lie. We all remember how effective Tommy was under the service of Rita back in the day, and for this plot, Rita and Zedd hope to bring that ruthless efficiency back to the side of evil. Of course, Tommy has been mind-controlled and captured over and over again to no avail. So instead of using the real Tommy Oliver, Rita calls on the aid of the Wizard of Deception to make a clone of Tommy.
He can only be defeated by another such as he.
The same guy that created the green candle that took away his powers in the first place. The wizard and some putties collect a lock of hair from Tommy and use the sample to create the evil version of Tommy. You can tell because he has a toothpick in his mouth, like one of those tough guys. This clone of Tommy holds the same personality as Tommy from back when he was first under Rita's control. So he's of course blindly loyal, devious, the whole nine.
I'm here to serve you, Wizard of Deception.
He tricks the Rangers into meeting him and the wizard, who send them back to the late 1700s. Yep. Not only do we have an evil clone episode, we've also got a time-traveling episode. In the past, the Rangers are powerless and labeled as witches.
Witches! Witches! Did you see them? They appeared from out of nowhere!
But it looks like there's someone watching their back. In the final part of Return of the Green Ranger, the evil Tommy clone has reawakened the Megazord for the forces of evil. The Rangers are in a bad spot. Tommy's energy is draining with the creation of the Green Ranger, and Alpha simply cannot find the other Rangers. So everything is on the shoulders of a weakened White Ranger.
When the wizard created the Green Ranger, it drained Tommy of some of his energy. All of his senses could be affected.
He calls upon his White Tiger Zord, but the battle goes poorly. However, Tommy tricks the Green Ranger into revealing the whereabouts of his friends, allowing Alpha to lock onto their location. Tommy manages to use whatever bits of energy is left to take the wizard's staff and travel back in time to save his friends.
Hey, you guys!
With the Rangers reunited in modern-day Angel Grove, Tommy is able to focus his efforts against his evil counterpart, while the rest of the force takes on the Dragon Zord. Tommy banishes the Wizard of Deception with the magic staff, thereby freeing the Green Ranger from his influence. And of course, the clone of Tommy is just good old Tommy Oliver, and he's a good guy at heart, so he calls off the Dino Zord just in the nick of time. The Dragon Zord returns to its place of rest, and the Tommies teleport back into 1700s Angel Grove to tie up some loose ends. The Wizard of Deception unleashed massive rats on the town as a way to slow down and perhaps destroy the Rangers while they were there. After defeating the monsters, the clone of Tommy decides to remain in the past.
Well, if your mind's made up.
And the original Tommy returns back to the normal timeline, fully energized once again. You know, that's the third time now that the evil aliens have tried to get Tommy on their side, and the third time that they failed. Maybe it's time for them to come up with a new idea. Well, in Blue Ranger Gone Bad, the final episode of Season 2, they decided to try the whole evil clone thing again, this time with Billy. The clone is created from a statuette made of Billy in art class, and the original Billy is captured and locked up in the Dark Dimension. The stark change in Billy's demeanor tips off all the alarms in Tommy's head. He's grown quite suspicious of the new, meaner Billy that wants to lift weights. We all know how experienced Tommy is with evil clones and serving Rita. Clone Billy asks for everybody's communicators for repairs.
What? I'm gonna hold on to mine till you get those fixed, just in case.
But when Tommy checks with Zordon, he realized that Billy is lying. Around the same time, the actual Billy uses a hologram he made in art class to escape from the Dark Dimension and reunite with the Rangers.
Park's not big enough for the both of us, that's right.
Which one's Billy?
Together with the real Billy, the Rangers destroy the clone and take down Zedd's newest monster, Vase Face. Once again, the clone idea doesn't work. Rita and Zedd really need to retire that one. The first major arc of Season 3, Ninja Quest, shakes things up tremendously for the Mighty Morphin Rangers. A new villain has arrived on scene. The brother of Rita Repulsa, Rita Revolto. Very creative name. Rito is an interesting guy, basically a bulky skeleton alien with a southern accent and a tendency to lose focus. And he comes bearing gifts for his sister and brother-in-law, some eggs of unknown origin. While those are incubating, Rito and a small platoon of monsters head off for Earth to take on the Rangers. Now Rito is kind of a goofy guy.
I'm a little twisted around here. Which way do I go?
But that's not said to take away from his fighting ability. He takes on the Thunder Megazord and the White Tiger Zord in warrior mode by himself and fends them off. Now remember, these are the most powerful Zords available to the Rangers, and the most powerful that we've seen in the series so far, and Rito handles them really well.
Rito is in position. It's time for the sneak attack.
Now, throw in the ambush by the other monsters, and the Rangers are in deep trouble, with Rito leading the charge. The Zords take a heavy beating. Alpha siphons as much power as he can to compensate, but ends up overloading the power accelerator. This forces the Rangers to retreat, and in a first for the entire series, the Zords are completely destroyed. The Rangers have taken losses before, but the Zords always come back. This time around though, the Thunder Zords are gone for good. Looks like this guy Rito really knows what he's doing. The next part of Ninja Quest sees the aftermath of the previous battle. Not only were the Zords destroyed, but the overload of the power accelerator also overloaded the Rangers' power itself, meaning the Power Rangers are now powerless. Their only hope at restoring themselves in the command center lies within the Desert of Despair in the hidden Temple of Power, where the original power coins were forged. Using the last of the power available to them, the Rangers teleport to this desert to search for their sacred temple.
According to the map that Alpha gave us, we should start heading in that direction.
Upon locating the landmark, they're swarmed by some menacing bird-like creatures. They're known as Tango Warriors, and are the hatchlings of the eggs that Rito gave his sister. Man, Rito has been nothing but beneficial for Rita and Zedd. There's still one egg left to hatch, which the Tango Warriors leave at the base of the temple. More on that soon. The Rangers have managed to escape the Tango Warriors and make their way inside the temple. Hopefully, they'll be able to find the power they need to fight off whatever is in that egg. In Part 3 of Ninja Quest, the Rangers find themselves inside a forest with a commanding voice questioning their arrival.
Who's out there? I want answers!
The voice is soon revealed to be Ninjor, aka the creator of the original power coins. Ninjor sees that the Rangers' intentions are noble and not from a place of greed, so he assists them on a spiritual journey to harness a new kind of power, the power of the ninja. Each of the Rangers are given brand new power coins and ninja suits to match their Ranger color.
Your journey is complete. Open your eyes and claim your destiny.
They're also granted brand new Zords. It's pretty cool. Where the former Zords reflected the brutish strength of dinosaurs, these new Zords reflect the cunning and agility of the ninja, and are vastly superior. Rocky is granted the power of the Red Ape Ninja Zord. Aisha gets the Yellow Bear Ninja Zord. Billy takes command of the Blue Wolf Ninja Zord. Kimberly is given the power of the Pink Crane Ninja Zord. Adam takes control of the Black Frog Ninja Zord. And lastly, Tommy is granted the power of the White Falcon Ninja Zord.
You must activate your ninja powers now in order to defeat them.
The new Ninja Rangers graciously accept their powers and take their leave of the temple. These new forms are significantly stronger and make quick work of the Tango Warriors. With their quest for power complete, the Rangers head back for Angel Grove in the command center. For the final part of Ninja Quest, the Rangers return to Angel Grove, gives them an opportunity to test out their new Zords against the formidable Rito. As individuals, these new Zords already prove much more effective than even the Thunder Megazord. However, when brought together to form the Ninja Megazord and the Ninja Mega Falcon Zord, they are just too powerful for Rito to handle, and he's forced to retreat. With the day one, the Rangers return to the command center to begin repairs. Back in the desert, though, another threat looms over Ninjor and the Temple of Power.
Call upon Ninjor, keeper of the Temple of Ninja Power!
That egg the Tango Warriors left has hatched into the fearsome Vampirus, who is capable of completely absorbing the energy of the temple. Ninjor puts up a solid fight and wounds the monster. When the Rangers arrive as reinforcements, they quickly destroy the monster for good and cap off the Ninja Quest story arc. Hey, we all know the drill at this point. New season means new villains and new Zords. Gotta love it.
Eddie, come on! We'll get him next time! Hey, let's see a great big smile, Ed!
Jumping right into the next major story arc, Ranger Catastrophe, let's meet our newest major character, PC, the part cat. PC is just a regular everyday stray cat with no special powers or ulterior motives that Kimberly and Aisha found one day. Okay, not really. PC is actually an agent of Rita's in her latest plan to destroy the Rangers. In all reality, PC is Catherine, Cat Hillard, polymorphed into a cat by Rita. Now, Catherine is a new face in Angel Grove and was quickly chosen and abused by Rita to infiltrate the Rangers and sow chaos.
All right, Cinderella, don't be late for the ball.
I won't disappoint you, Empress.
In this first appearance, her goal is to, drumroll please, kidnap Tommy Oliver again. This never works. I don't know why you keep trying it. She arrives at the youth center and asks Tommy to help her with her broken down car. When he's able to get it back up and running, she offers him a joyride around the block. Rita then teleports the car with Cat and Tommy to the dark dimension.
All right, Zeddy, hit him with a deuce.
Coming up, my dear.
At the same time, Rita was destroying Angel Grove, so the Rangers must decide. Do they save Tommy and Cat, or go deal with Rita? For the final part of Ranger Catastrophe, Tommy's signal is essentially untraceable, so the Rangers are left with no choice but to confront Rita downtown. The Ninja Zords, of course, make quick work of him, but it provides enough distance for Rita to secure Tommy in the dark dimension. Billy thinks he's able to find a way to trace the signal and penetrate the force field around Tommy's prison, but he's gonna need some time. This is when Rita launches Plan B, her monster catastrophe.
Well, I suppose it's a good time for Plan B.
Which is Catherine in her cat form but grown into a human-sized cat monster. I wonder if that hurts at all. Ew. Either way, the Rangers inevitably force the monster to retreat and teleport into the dark dimension and save Tommy. So mission accomplished, right? Yes.
You made it! I'm so glad you're okay, Tommy.
But Rita is still not done. She sends Catastrophe back out into the fold, grown to massive proportions. The Rangers, along with Ninjor, fight off the massive cat monster with the use of the Ninja Megazord. Jeez, it's like 3 assaults in one episode and Rita is still unsuccessful. Remember though, Catherine is still working for her, so she hasn't lost all hope yet. For this next story arc, Changing of the Zords, Rita's henchmen have discovered an ancient power, the dormant Shogun Zords. But wait, Mr. YouTube man, we just got new Zords, what are you talking about? Yes, we did. And when you see these, you're gonna see why. They're so sick. These new machines are still asleep though, and will require a power coin to awaken. So Rita instructs Cat to retrieve one of the power coins from the Rangers.
Pause on a power coin from one of the Ranger rats. Understand?
As you wish.
Now, Cat has been doing a great job at keeping her evil affiliations a secret and has actually grown quite close to the Rangers, specifically Kimberly. So she uses her newfound friendship to her advantage and pursues Kimberly's coin. Zedd sends down the Tango Warriors to create a diversion for Cat. During this fight, we get to see that Adam has the power to duplicate himself, and Aisha can teleport with a puff of smoke. Man, these ninja forms are awesome. This fight does offer enough of a distraction for Cat to steal Kimberly's power coin. I gotta admit though, just leaving it in her bag really wasn't the most secure way to store a galactic power source. Without her power coin, Kimberly begins to feel faint and weakened. This is because these new ninja power coins are actually linked directly to the teen's life essence.
I suggest you back off, Featherbrain.
So by losing it, Kimberly has basically lost a part of herself. So it goes without saying that the Pink Ranger is out of commission for the fight against a massive Goldar. Ninjor arrives on scene to offer assistance, but is ultimately bested and captured after Cat uses the power coin to teleport into Tommy's Falcon Zord and steal it. With Ninjor and the Falcon Zord at the Moon Palace, Zedd has 2 extra sources from which to siphon more power to awaken the dormant Zords.
Now the stage is set for the final act of my plan.
And with the Pink Ranger out of the fight for now, the Rangers are in hot water. Like, boiling hot water. The next episode continues the Changing of the Zord story, and sees Zedd formulate a plan to get the pilots for the Zords who will soon wake up. Of course, he can't just pull some randos off the street or have any of his monsters do it. The only feasible option, at least in Zedd's eyes, is to manipulate the Rangers into doing it for him. He does this by first sending out his latest monster, Incisorator, since he knows the capable Rangers will have to go out and face it. As of right now, Kimberly is unconscious, and obviously unable to participate in the fight.
Kimberly's life depends on it. Have you found a substitute power source for her yet?
She wakes up just in time to see Cat being quote-unquote attacked by the Tango Warriors and teleports out to save her. Her powers fail her though, and she falls in battle before the Tangas, leading to her capture. Kimberly's capture is the backbone of Zedd's plan. With her as prisoner, Zedd can use Kimberly as leverage to force the Rangers to fight for him.
Release the Pink Ranger.
Silence! The only one making demands at this point is me!
And with the new Zords in the process of waking up, the Rangers will need to make a decision and make it soon. Also, sort of a side note, Zedd teleporting inside the command center is probably the most menacing a villain has ever looked in this series. He's really got the Rangers on the ropes this time. In the next part of Changing the Zords, Tommy reluctantly agrees to Zedd's plan. However, he and Billy recall the last time a Ranger was being held captive in the Dark Dimension. All the way back to the Green Candle episode, Billy made those teleporters to break Jason inside, so they can use these same devices to break Tommy inside. Tommy enters the dimension and faces off with Zedd himself.
You and your precious pink princess will be powerless together!
While the rest of the Rangers fend off the Tengas and Rita's newest monster, the Sea Monster. That's S-E-E, because this whole thing is, it's eyes. You know, it's a funny joke. We all know how impatient Rita is, so she also sends down the newly awoken ancient Shogun Zords. Time is up for the Rangers. They either face annihilation or work for Rita and Zedd.
Pilot them and destroy your own city! The world will hate the Power Rangers forever!
Turns out, though, there's a secret third option, commanding the new Zords themselves. All of the Rangers give their power coins to Billy, who uses them to reroute the power systems and allow the Rangers to take command of the Zords. As this is all happening, Zedd loses his bargaining chip, Kimberly, when Tommy breaks Zedd's staff in the Dark Dimension. Now with the ancient Shogun Zords under their control and Kimberly safe, the Rangers are free to destroy the Sea Monster and be the good guys like always. These new Zords are essentially just upgraded versions of the already super powerful Ninja Zords that they just received, so it's safe to say that Sea Monster doesn't stand a chance. However, the day isn't completely won. Zedd is still in control of the pink power coin and still has Ninjor in captivity. For right now though, at least Angel Grove is safe.
You'll have Ninjor trapped in a bottle and Sweetie by Kimberly's power coin.
In the next major story arc, A Different Shade of Pink, Kimberly is stretched way too thin between her duties as a Power Ranger and her lifelong dream of being a world-renowned gymnast. An opportunity of a lifetime has sprung up that could see Kimberly competing on a global scale, but it will require a ton of practice and will pull her away from her Ranger responsibility. Zordon and the others are super supportive and understand Kimberly's necessary absences, promising to only call when she's desperately needed. Unfortunately for Kimberly, Kat has been made fully aware of Kimberly's overexertion and has reported it to Rita. This kicks off Rita's latest plan to essentially completely wear down the Pink Ranger. She launches attack after attack after attack on different parts of town, spreading their Rangers so thin they have to call in Kimberly.
Tommy! You better call Kim! I guess we have no choice.
By the end, Kimberly is so exhausted, she collapses off the balance beam, hitting her head as Kat watches on. However, Kat seems to be showing some remorse and guilt for her actions. As she watches Kimberly practice, she remembers when she arrived in Angel Grove and was placed under Rita's influence,
The name of all that is rotten and nasty!
and how she was also supposed to be competing on a global level, but an injury forced her to drop out. This memory breaks Rita's spell, and Kat rushes to Kimberly's side. No more double-crossing for Kat. For the final part of A Different Shade of Pink, Kat's deception has been fully revealed to the Rangers, but they all forgive her. I mean, I've lost count of how many times the Rangers have been forced to work for the bad guys. Rita and Zedd, however, aren't just gonna let Kat go, so they give the Rangers an ultimatum. Send Kat back to the Moon Palace or they will launch Ninjor into the Sea of Sorrows.
You have to trade me for your friend Ninjor.
Although they tried to deceive the bad guys during the exchange, Kat is recaptured and imprisoned in the Dark Dimension, and the Rangers have nothing to show for it. Kat shows some resourcefulness though, and subtly takes her cell key from Rito and manages to secure the stolen Big Power Coin. Billy is then able to lock on and teleport in, saving both Kat and the Power Coin.
Oh, I'm alive.
Now, as far as the global competition, Kimberly performs exceptionally at her tryout and earns herself a spot to train full-time for the Pan Global Games in Florida. Wait a minute. If Kimberly's in Florida, she can't be a Ranger, so she's a bit unsure. However, Zordon and the Rangers offer Kimberly the support that she needs to move on. To take her place, everyone agrees that Kat's resilience and bravery makes her the perfect candidate to take her place. Kat and Kimberly initiate the power transfer, and we have ourselves a new Pink Ranger. This next story arc, Master Vile and the Metallic Armor introduces a brand new bad guy to the game, Master Vile, Overlord of the M51 Galaxy.
Meet Master Vile, my father!
And the father of Rito and Rita, and he's here for one thing, Zeo crystals. More on them soon. Master Vile poses a serious new threat, so Zordon gives the Rangers a serious new upgrade, the Metallic Armor, which will increase both their strength and resilience. And they're gonna need all the power they can get, because Vile upgrades the Tenga Warriors into the Super Tengas. It's not until the Rangers summon their Metallic Armor that they can succeed. The battle isn't over yet though, as the Rangers must take on the monster Globor without Tommy. Luckily, Billy is as resourceful as ever, and creates a device that allows them to control both the Shogun Zord and the Ninja Zords at the same time. Now, Zordon is certain that Vile has arrived to seek out the Zeo crystals, so he launches a preemptive strike to get them first. That's where Tommy went, to retrieve the crystals. Tommy must sneak into the Cave of Deception right underneath the Moon Palace. In the next part of Master Vile and the Metallic Armor, Tommy traverses the Cave of Deception for the Zeo Crystals. The thing about this cave, though, is that it's full of illusions to ward off any invaders, and the crystals themselves are protected by a force field that cannot be breached by someone that isn't pure of heart.
Give it up, Tommy. You have too much evil in you to approach the Zeo Crystal.
Tommy, of course, is a noble soul, but as he reaches in, he's racked by visions of his past work as the Green Ranger. However, all the good he's done assures him that he is in fact a good guy, and he secures the Zeo Crystals. Back on Earth, Glowbar has drained the Shogun Megazord of all of its power, forcing the Rangers to regroup in the weaker Ninja Megazord. However, just as things start getting a little dicey, Tommy and Kat arrive on scene and turn the tides with the Ninja Mega Falcon Zord. However, when Glowbar morphs into a duplicate of Ninjor, the Rangers are forced to back off because any damage inflicted is also felt by the real Ninjor.
Rangers, your Ninjor is connected to my Glover!
The Rangers are quickly defeated, since they can't put up a solid defense. With the Rangers defeated, Vile collects the Zeo Crystals and teleports the Zords away. Like, far away. Like another galaxy far away. Yikes. On the ground, Glowbar drains the Rangers of much of their power before they teleport away. This new guy, Vile, has only been around for like an episode. He's already beaten the Rangers. Hopefully Zordon has one of his genius plans. In the final part of Master Vile and the Metallic Armor, the Rangers launch a counterattack after Zordon charges their powers back up. Firstly, the Rangers travel all the way to Vile's home galaxy, M51, and recover their resting Zords. Upon their arrival back on Earth, they're greeted by a monstrously overpowered Glowbar. With a solar eclipse summoned by Vile and the powers he absorbed from the Zords and the Rangers, Glowbar is an absolute unit.
The Ranger reign is finished!
No, it can't be!
And gives all three of the Zords a serious beating. However, Alpha is able to siphon some energy from the command center to end the eclipse. This renders all of the monster's powers useless and frees Ninjor from captivity.
Hey, Master Vile, let's really talk business.
Although the Rangers are able to dispatch the weakened Glowbar rather quickly, an enlarged Master Vile proves even more of a threat. The Rangers form together into the most powerful configurations of Zords in the show, the Shogun Mega Falcon Zord. Say that 5 times fast. With this configuration and some support from Ninjor, the Rangers defeat Master Vile and force him to retreat. With the Zeo Crystal back in hand, Tommy and the Rangers head back into the mountains and shatter it into 5 mini crystals that the Rangers spread across the globe.
I think we should break it into pieces and scatter them.
Master Vile might be defeated for now, but he'll be back. And as far as those 5 Zeo Crystals go, well, that's a story for another time. And with that, our coverage of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comes to a close. Which version of these OG Rangers was your favorite? Thank you all so much for watching. Have an awesome day. See ya.